Season's greetings, dear viewers. I'm happy to meet you at episode 3, season 1 of Timeless Meenakshi. In this episode, all of us are going to view the literature on Meenakshi. Many of us know that the British national anthem is God Save Our Gracious Queen. Indeed, it is suitable to have a song like that on our revered queen, Meenakshi. And much to our surprise, many of us may not know that there is a song on her. And it is in Sanskrit, composed by Muthuswami Dikshitar.
संततं पाहि मां संगीतश्यामले सर्वाधारे जननी सर्वाधारे चिन्तितार्थप्रदे चिद्रूपिणी शिवे श्रीगुरुगुहसेविते शिवमोहाकारे संततं पाहि मां संगीतश्यामले सर्वाधारे जननी सर्वाधारे.
In this episode, we are going to meet the heritage enthusiast, Pratik Sudha Murali, who's going to go through the various literature that is there on our timeless goddess Meenakshi. Thank you very much for being with us, encouraging us, and interacting with us on this journey. And I look forward to your interaction, your constructive criticism to help us improve further.
Am I audible?
Yes, very much audible.
Thank you so much. Astam tavadiyam prasuti samaye durvara shulavyatha nairuchyam tanusoshanam malamayi shayya samvatsari ekasyapina garbhabhara bharana kleshasya yasyakshamo dhatum nishkriti munnatopi tanayaha tasyai janamye namaha. My salutations to the goddess that I have seen with my own eyes, my mother. I would like to thank INTACH Madurai Chapter for having me to talk about this topic that is, literature, Indian literature and its aesthetics itself is very enriching. But when it's about this a goddess like Meenakshi, I think it just has no bounds. So it gives me immense pleasure to talk about Meenakshi in literature. So though she is timeless, I thought I will build up a timeline of literature on a timeless goddess. So we'll start with the Sangam age and then move on to Silappatikaram and move into the various bhakti literatures in both Tamil and in Sanskrit, and look at the myriad compositions of the poets, their aesthetics, their meter usages, their wonderful bhavas and rasas that they have poured into their poetry and submitted to the lotus feet of Meenakshi. So to start with, of course, there are no direct references to Meenakshi as such as a goddess in Sangam literature. But having said that, definitely there is a worship or a temple dedicated to Shiva that we see in as early in the Sangam literature as the Madurai Kanji itself. So in Madurai, of course, it is a later Sangam period text. But when we look at Madurai Kanji, which is a wonderful chronicle of the Madurai of that time. It says, Neerum Nilanum Tiyum Valiyum Maga Visumbudu Aindudan Atriya Maruval Nediyon Alaivanage. So it starts with a temple. So this comes in the context of a wonderful festival which is happening in the twilight time, in the twilight time when people are coming and celebrating in a Shiva temple called the Andi Vira. And this Andi Vira is being celebrated to glorify, to eulogize Shiva, who is the reason for Neerum, Nilanum, Tiyum, Valiyum, Maga Visumbum, Aindudan Yetriya, which is he is the reason for the existence of the 5 bhutas or the 5 elements of the planet, of the universe. And to that Shiva, who is Maruval Nediyon, he who has an axe, Maru and Val, and a sword. So to that Shiva, Maruval Nediyon Talaivanage, Masara Vilangia Yakayarsu, Shudarvananga Yeraipanai Tol, Vananga Yeraipanai Tol. So it goes on that to say that the people of Madurai are celebrating at a Shiva shrine. So there is a mention of a Shiva temple or a shrine dedicated to Shiva as being central to the town of Madurai, where the citizens of Madurai gather around in the evening times and are celebrating with music and dance and whatnot, and eulogizing Shiva. When we look at the texts, many architectural texts, many texts that are dedicated to architecture and town planning and all of that, right from the Arthashastra to say Mayamata or anything, in the center of the city, the Nagara Madhya must have a temple, and around that a city is built. And there is definitely Shiva, Aparajita. So these are deities. Even in Arthashastra it is mentioned. So these deities have a place in the center of the city, and the town is kind of developed and planned around that this thing. So we see that influence in the Sangam literature also, to say that perhaps there was a Shiva temple in the center of the town who is eulogized by these people. And there is also a vidhi in many of these texts that tell us that the Shakti of the Devata, be it Vishnu or Shiva, must also have a pratishtha there. So perhaps Shakti of Shiva as a Devi was done, and we can only speculate at this point in time. There is also a wonderful mention of woman worshipping. So Sool Magalir Daivatirku Madai Guduttal. So this is the reference that is made in Madurai Kanji again, which reads like this: Tivavu main niruthu Chevvadi Panni, Kural Punar Nalyal Muravudu Ondri, Nunnir Aguli Yeretta Palavudan, Onshudar Vilakkam Mundura Madayodu, Nalma Mayilin Menmela Yeli, Kadunchul Makalir, Peni Kaidudu, Perundod Shalini Madupa. So this is a beautiful paragraph that comes in Madurai Kanji that talks about Shul Makalir. Shul Makalir are ladies who are pregnant. So this is a ritual that's being performed by the ladies, exclusively by ladies, among whom there are many pregnant women. So pregnant women come and give offerings, and it says how they offer to the deity is Tibavu Mainiruthu Sevvali Panni. So they are singing and Sevvali Panni. So they are singing with beautiful ragas or puns, and Nunnir Aguli Iratta Palavudan. So with Mulavudu Ondri, Mulavu is a drum, and Kural Punar Nal Yal. Kural Punar Nal Yal, meaning their voices are matching the flute that is being played, and their sound of the music is according to the laya or the tala that is there. So that is known by the Mulavu drum, which is accompanying their this thing. And one shudar vilakkam undura. So they are bringing lights for the ritual. Madayodu. Madai is a rice offering. So Madai is another name for sore or rice. So Madayodu Nalma Mayilin Menmela Yeli. They walk, these ladies walk like as if they are peacocks. Their gait is just so graceful. And Kadam Shul Makalir, who are pregnant, the pregnant women walk. Peni Kaituludu, they pray, they bow in reverence to a deity, and who that is very interesting. Perundod Shalini Maduppa. That is the reference that we have. So who is Shalini? Shalini is a woman who is possessed by a goddess, and she is the lady who is possessed by the goddess is revered as goddess herself, and these other women are coming to worship this woman who is said to be possessed by a goddess. So of course we cannot definitely say that this points to who we have as Meenakshi, or if this Shalini was possessed by Meenakshi. Definitely we are not hinting at that, but we do have a very early reference of a Stri Devata worship in Madurai, in the center of Madurai, that is being spoken about in as early as the Sangam age in Madurai Kanji itself. Now, but in Silapadhikaram, there is a beautiful case wherein Kannagi, after she is done with her Vazhakurai Kadai, or when she is done making her case to the Pandyan king, and when she is so angry and she is about to burn the city, when she is done burning the city, and at that time her anger had to be brought down, and Ilangovadigal very beautifully brings out the arrival of a certain deity called as Madurapadi Devam. And there he says, Kadalan Kadutta Noyodu Ulam Kanandru Udu Ulai Kuruhin Uyirtanal Uyirtu Marugadai Marugum Kavalagil Kavalum Yangalum Yangum Mayangum Arayar Utra Vira Patinimun Kondaral Vemmai Kurieri Pora Al Vandu Tondrinal Madurapadi Yen. So the Madurapadi Devam, there is some deity called Madurapadi Devam who comes and stands and comes Pratyaksha to Kannagi when she is at her peak of anger, and how that is being described by Ilangovadigal as when Kannagi is like this fire that is being burnt for people to smelt metals. So she is so hot, and at that time Madurapadi Devam comes in front of Kannagi, behind Kannagi, and Vandu Tondrinal, she has arrived, and he says, and he also answers with a beautiful Venpa who this Madurapadi Devam is. And that is very interesting, because this is the first connect between a deity who is specifically called Madurapadi Devam, or who is specifically linked with the city of Madurai, and who is linked with Parvati also. So many scholars who trace Meenakshi, we cannot ignore Madurapadi Devam in Silapadhikaram for tracing the timeline of the goddess. So he says, Ilangovadigal in Silapadhikaram, in this beautiful Venba, he says, Mamagalum, Namagalum, Mama Yidan Setruganda, Komagalum, Tampadaita Kutrattal, Namamudira, Mulaikurital, Munnare Vandal, Madurapadi Ennum Madu. So Madurapadi Ennum Madu, the lady called Madurapati, who is she? Mamagalum. Mamagal is Lakshmi. Namagalum is Saraswati. And Mamayidan Setruganda Komagalum. So she who killed Mahishasura. So the first linkage of Madurapadi Devam and Parvati is found in Silapadikaram. Mamagalum, Namagalum, Ma Mayidan. Mayidan is the Tamil version of Mahisha. So Ma Mayidan Setruganda Komagalum, she who killed Mahishasura, she comes to Nama Mudira Mulai Guraittal. Mulai Guraittal here is Kannagi, where Kannagi has thrown one of her breasts in anger into the city of Madurai to burn it. And Munnare Vandal Madurapadi Ennum Madu. Before that, Kannagi was standing this Madurapadi Devam. And it goes on to describe the form. Now that we know who this Madurapadi Devam is, she is Mamagalum, Namagalum, Mamaidan Setruganda Komagalum. She is Mahishasura Mardini. And it goes ahead, he goes ahead and describes how she looks, where he gives this wonderful poetry. He says, Sadayum Birayum Talda Senni Kuvalai Unkan Tabala Valmugati, Kadayir Arumbi, Pabala Chevaiti, Edenila Virinda Nitil and Agati, Edamaranga Yerinda, Nilamayinum, Balamaranga Pundiram, Porayum Menigal, Edakai Polambun, Tamarai Endinum, Valakai Amshudar Kuduval, Pititol, Valakal, Ponagadal Gard Katinum, Edakol, Tanichelam Barapchum Tagamigal, Paniture Kokai Kongan, Kumari Turavan, Punkot, Varamban, Pudigil, Purupan, Kulamudal Kirat. Adalin Alamandu, Urumalai Goreta Thiruma, Patini Alama, Thirumugat, Ayuday, Nangai, and Munilay, Yard, Pinalai the Ondri, Ketishin Vadi Nangai and Gurai. So he goes on like that, where he is describing Madurapadi Devam as literally as Ardhanarishwara, as a Shiva Parvati combined figure. So he says, Viri Sadai, so Sadayum Pirayum Tarnda Senni. So in one side, she is having Sadayum Pirayum, the Jatabhara of Shiva, and on the other, and she is also having Chandra or moon on her hair, and she is having a Kuvalai Unkan Tavala Val Mugatti. So she is, her eyes are like that of a Kuvalai flower. And Kadayira Arumbiya Pavala Chevaiti. Her lips are like coral beads, are like Pavala, so red. And her Idainila Virinda Nittila Nagaiti, when she laughs, it is like as if pearls strung together, or like the Chandrakanti is there in all her teeth. Idamarangu Irinda Neelamayinam. To the left side, it is like as if it is very blue, dark blue, who is Shiva. Valamarangu Ponniram Purayum Menigal. To the right side, however, she is of golden hue. So therefore, it is clearly speaking about an Ardhanarishwara form. Idakkai Polampun Tamarai Endinum. The left side she holds a beautiful lotus. Valakkai Amshudar Kodubal Biditol. In the other side, to the right side, she holds Kodubal Piditol. She holds a sword. Amshudar, she holds Agni. Valakkal Punai Kadal Kattinum, Yedakkal Tanichilam Barapchum Takamigal. In one side, to the right side, she is wearing a Kadal, and the other side she is wearing a Silamb or an anklet. Now, one more thing that is very interesting is, even when Ilango Vadigal is describing the male part of Ardhanarishwara, he does not refer to the pronoun he uses is not in, which refers to the masculine. He calls the form, the composite form of Shiva and Shakti as a feminine form only. That's very interesting. Meniyal, Piditol. He does not say Piditon. And therefore, that's a very interesting connection into the feminine side of the divine. We can say that Ilango Vadigal is pointing out. And so this is a beautiful reference that we get of a deity called Madurapadi Devam, and who is evidently spoken as Shiva and Shakti, Shiva Shakti Aikya, and that too with pronouns that refer to the feminine, not to the masculine. That's a very interesting thing. But in the name of Meenakshi or something like that, we don't get a direct reference to her in the Sangam literature or anything like that. But then during the Bhakti era, when we come to Sambandar during the time of the early Pandyas, where around 6th century, 7th century, of course, date is again debated. But then there is a wonderful poem where Angayar Kanni, the name, is introduced for the first time in literature by Tirujnana Sambandar. Mangayar Karasi Valavarhon Pavai வரிவளைக்கை பங்கையச் செல்வி பாண்டிமா தேவி பணிந்து நாள்தோறும் பரவ பொங்கழல் உருவன் பூதநாயகன் நால்வேதமும் பொருள்களும் அருளி அங்கையர்கண்ணி தன்னொடும் அமர்ந்த ஆலவாயாவதும் இதுவே. He says, Mangayarkarasi Valavargon Pavai. So Mangayarkarasi is a queen of Pandyas, but she is Valavargon Pavai. She is the daughter of the Cholas. Varivalaikai Pangayachelvi Pandima Devi. Now she is now the Pandi Mahadevi. She is the queen of the Pandyas. Panisaidan Aldorum Parava. Now she comes and worships every single day. Panisaid doing Kankariya or Seva. Pongadal Uruvan Budanayagan Nalvedamum Purulgalum Aruli. Shiva, who is the ultimate purpose of all the Vedas, and he who gave the world the Vedas, who is the Veda Nayaka. Angayarkanni Tannadum Amarnda Alavayavadum iduve. Alavai, or which is Madurai, is of greatness because Shiva, who is Vedanayaka, who is being served by Mangayarkarasi, is seated here firmly along with Angayarkanni. Kayal is fish, Kanni is eye. So Ankayarkanni, is beautiful. So beautiful fish eye. Kayarkanni, Angayarkanni Tannadum Amarnda Alavayavadum iduve. So this is the first reference in literary history, we can say, of Kayarkanni or Meenakshi as such. And there are some scholars who opine that this is not a reference to Meenakshi Sundareshwara, but it is to Immayilum Nannai temple, or this temple in Madurai, which is not as famous as the Somasundara Meenakshi temple is, where we find behind the lingam, we have Shiva and Parvati seated together as Uma Sahita. And because Sambandar in his Prabandha, in his Tebaram, specifically says Angayarkanni Tannodum Amarnda Alavai, there are some scholars who think that this is referring to Immayilum Nannai temple, which has Shiva and Parvati seated, with a very literal interpretation of Sambandar's Tebaram. But again, that is one thing, and there are scholars who say that it is not Sundareshwara Meenakshi temple which was the Madhyapuri, or which was the center of the city, but it was Immayilum Nannai temple. The importance somehow shifted to the other temple, which is Meenakshi Sundareshwara. The story of Meenakshi Kalyanam is kind of intertwined with every person who lives in Tamil Nadu, that we can say, because every even if we are just going to open an invitation, wedding invitation, so to say, we will have Meenakshi Kalyanam photo in that. So we've all it's there everywhere for us. But the origins of these stories are traditionally attributed to Skanda Purana in a work, literary work called as the Halasya Mahatmya. This Halasya Mahatmya details the story of Meenakshi as the Tatataka Vrittamta. So there are the Chatushashti Leelas, or the Thiruvilayadals, as we say in Tamil, the divine plays that Shiva played with the people of Madurai, and the various incidents and anecdotes associated with Shiva's divine Leelas that happened in Madurai. But the first few among them is Tatataka Vrittanta, where Tatataka is born, and she is raised by the Pandya king as his own daughter, and then she goes and fights a war with the gods. She says he raises her as a brave warrior princess, and she says she will not marry. She'll only marry a person who can win her over in war. And at last she wins over Indra also, and then she proceeds to Kailasha, where she sees Shiva, and she falls in love immediately. All her valor is gone, and she is shy looking at him, and she falls in love at the first sight, and Shiva marries her. So this is the first few chapters of Halasya Mahatmya, where we find Tatataka Vrittanta and Tatataka's Kalyanam, or marriage, Meenakshi Kalyanam. So the Tatataka Vrittantam starts like this: Yaya Devi Su Meenakshi Kadamba Vananayika Tatataketi Namna Bhut Sa Leelam Shruyatam Shubha. Let us listen to the auspicious Leela of Meenakshi, who is the Kadambavana Nayika. Madurai is also known as Kadambavana because of the it was a forest of Kadamba trees which was cleared, and the Nagara Nirmana Patala of Halasi Mahatmya tells us how the city was established as well. Yaya Devi Su Meenakshi, the Meenakshi Devata who is there in Kadambavana, she was born as Tatataketi Namna Bhoot. Abhoot, in the past tense, she was born as Tatataka iti Namna. In the name of Tatataka, Sa Leelam. Let us listen to that Leela or that divine play of Meenakshi in the form of Tatataka. Shruyatam Shubha, which is very auspicious. Let us hear that. So she was born from this Yajna Kunda. Or the sacrificial fire. Tasyaha murtehe samutpanna Suminakshi nijamshataha shyamala komalakara trisamvatsara rupini. She came out of the fire from the sacrificial fire in the form of a 3-year-old child, Komalakara, who is very aesthetic and graceful. Trisamvatsara rupini. Trisamvatsara. As a 3-year-old child, she comes from the Yajna Kunda, or a sacrificial fire, which was, she comes and sits on the lap of Kanchanamala, who is the wife of Malayadhwaja Pandya, who was ruling the country. And Kuchena Ikena Vikritam Tam Vilokya Sukanyakam Malayadhwaja Bhupalas Tada Khinna Manahya Bhoot. So when the Malayadhwaja Pandya, who is the Pandya ruler monarch, looks at the kid, looks at this small 3-year-old kid, he Khinna Mana Bhoot, he gets afraid, or he gets sad because he notices that she is born with 3 breasts. And that is not normal. So Kuchena Ekena Vikritam. So there is some problem he feels, and therefore he becomes sad. And Tatatake Yam Kalyani Yada Bharta Vilokita Tada Tada Nimagnam Bhavati Vikritam Kuchamandalam. Therefore, there is an Ashariri that says that Tatatake Yam Kalyani. She is Tatataka, who is Kalyani, who is ever auspicious. Yada Bharta Vilokita. As soon as she sees her husband, that moment, tada, at that time, nimagnam bhavati vikritam kuchamandalam. At that time, the other extra breast will vanish, and therefore you don't have to worry, O Pandya. And therefore he raises the kid as his own, and he considers it as his great honor to raise that kid who is very divine. But who is Tatataka? That is the question now that is answered by Halasi Mahatmya. So Halasi Mahatmya says there was a Gandharva called Vishwavasu, and Vishwavasu's daughter prayed at Madurai. So it is not that only after Tatataka is born, Madurai is established as a city and Tatataka became the goddess Meenakshi that is there. No. Instead, what Halasi Mahatmya says is that there is already a goddess called Tatataka, called Meenakshi, who is there in Madurai or Kadambavana, to whom this Gandharva Vishwavasu's daughter goes and prays. And when the goddess Meenakshi appears before Vidyavati, who is Vishwavasu's daughter, and asks what you want, and she says, Vidyavati says that I want you to become my daughter, and I want to raise you as my daughter. And therefore Meenakshi says, you Vidyavati will be born as Kanchanamala, and you will marry the Pandyan monarch Malayadhwaja, and I, Meenakshi, will be born as Tatataka, and you can raise me as your own kid. And that is the boon that Vidyavati, the daughter of the Gandharva Vishwavasu, obtained. And therefore Meenakshi is born to Kanchanamala, who is none other than Vishwavasu's daughter Vidyavati. So Shri Halasye Mahakshetre Mahatirthasya Tirake Divye Harmye Parashaktihi Paripurna Paratpara. Even before the Janana of Tatataka to Malayadhwaja and Kanchanamala, there is a mention of Divye Harmye. Harmya is a temple. Harmye Parashaktihi. That Parashakti resides in that Divya Harmya, that divine temple. Paripurna Paratpara. She who is, who has no equal. Paratpara. She is higher than the highest. Paratpara Parashaktihi. That Shakti or that divine female, divine feminine has a temple dedicated to her in Madurai. Anadyanta Jaganmata Satchid Anandarupini Smrtamatrena Papagni Sarvaishwarya Pradayini. She who is Meenakshi, who can destroy all the sins just at the minute or the second we think about her. Devisa Karuna Murti. So she is the embodiment of mercy. And Sri Halaseshwarasya Manognya Sapharakshicha Mahadevi Manonmani. So Saphara is a little fish. So Sapharakshi also means Meenakshi. So that this is obtained even before Tatataka Jananam in Sri Halasi Mahatmya. In Halasi Mahatmyam, Madurai is not only spoken about as a Shiva Kshetra and Sundareshwara as the person as the divine who performs, or the god who performs all the Chatushashti Leelas or the 64 divine plays. It is also said that it is a Devi Pitha or a Shakti Pitha. Now, Madurai as a Shakti Pitha is described in Halasi Mahatmya thus: Devi Pithani anekani santi lokatrayeshu cha tesham madhye chatushashti pithani mahanti cha teshu mukhyatamam pitham kadambavana pithakam. Devi Pithani anekani. There are innumerable Devi Pithas in all three worlds. Lokatrayeshu cha tesham madhye chatushashti pithani mahanti. So there are chatushashti, 64 Devi Pithas which are important among these innumerable Devi temples. And teshu, among them, mukhya tamam pitham. So this is in the superlative degree. Mukhya is important. Mukhya tara is more important. Mukhya tama is the most important. Teshu mukhya tamam pitham Kadambavana Pithakam. This Kadambavana Pitha or Meenakshi's Pitha is the most important Pitha among those Shakti Pithas. Now, in Halasi Mahatmya itself, we find a wonderful stotra dedicated to Meenakshi. So it goes like this: Ya Devi Jagatam Kartri Shankarasya Api Shankari Namastasyai Meenakshi Devyai Mangalamurtaye Chakradadhara Yam Sarva Bhavishtam Lavate Janaha Namastasyai Meenakshi Devyai Mangalamurtaye. So it's a long stotra which goes on with the first verse glorifying some form of the Devi or some Shakti of the Devi or some Leela of the Devi or some attributes of the Devi and all of that. The second line is fixed, which goes Namastasyai Meenakshi Devyai Mangalamurtaye Namastasyai Meenakshi Devyai Mangalamurtaye. So this discusses the marriage between, after this it goes on to discuss the marriage between Sundareshwara and Meenakshi. Traditionally, Halasi Mahatmya is considered part of the Agastya Samhita of the Skanda Purana. This is the traditional attribution. The same story that we have in Halasi Mahatmya is done in Tamil as well by two poets. So one is the Perumbachapuliyur Nambi Thiruvilayadal Puranam around 13th century, which is older, and the more famous version of Thiruvilayadal Puranam, which is by Paranjodi Munibar Thiruvilayadal Puranam in 16th, 17th century. And in Sanskrit, again during the Nayaka era, it was done by Nilakanta Dikshita in the form of Shivalila Arnava. So though the core matter is the same, the poetic beauty that these various poets bring out is really interesting. And we will also be looking at Nilakanta Dikshita's other work called Ananda Sagarasthava, which is another very beautiful poetic work, fully extolling the beauty and the attributes of the goddess Meenakshi again. So Perumbachapuliyur Nambi Thiruvilayadal Puranam, for example, this is one poem from Perumbachapuliyur Nambi Thiruvilayadal Puranam. So Ayyamil Ganidam Vallan Avarilor Amichan Potri Poyi Ulavat Udita Kala Balatinar Puviyai Alum Tayalukku Iyenda Namam Tadadagai. So now that the girl is born, Malayadvaja Pandya calls for a meeting of many Brahmins and astrologers and learned people, and he does the Namakarana ceremony or names the goddess or the baby. Tayyalukku, who is that Tayyal? Tayyal means woman or baby or girl. Puviyai Alum Tayyal. So she will rule the whole world. Puviyai Alum Tayyalukku Iyainda Namam. The apt name for this girl is Tadadagai. So Tadadagai is how she is named. Mayyuru Kanavarkandan Migamulai Marayum Enran. So the soothsayer or the astrologer, council of astrologers and learned people also advise Malayadhwaja that you don't have to worry. Mayyuru Kanavarkandan. So if she looks at her at the sight of her husband, Migai Mulai Marayum Enran, that extra breast that she is born with will go off. So you don't have to worry. Raise her like your child, and you don't have to worry. She is divinity personified. Indanal Urai Poyadu Enri Yainda Iver Manan Sendamil Mukkad Chokkan Sayalana Tedinda. So he realizes that this is some divine Leela of Mukkad Chokkan. The three-eyed Sokkanata or Somasundara தெளிந்து. So he gets clarity. தொல்லை தந்திர நெறியினான் தடாதகை என்று நாமம் தடாதகை என்று சாத்தி. He goes on and accepts the advice of the council and names the child as Tadadaka. Tadadagai endru chaati Chendaya Kulangadirndu Seluthinan Sengol Vonga. And he starts ruling as normal as it is. Now, coming to the next Thiruvilayadal Puranam of Paranjoti Munivar. Paranjoti Munivar's Thiruvilayadal Puranam is a beautiful work. Even without going into the meaning, the chandas that he uses or the vrittams that he uses itself is very beautiful. Now, Meenakshi, she grows up to become this valorous goddess or valorous ruler, and she goes on to, she says, I'm going to win over the gods. And her mantri is ready with the ratha and everything. Now she goes on to embark, or she gets on to the ratha. So that is being described by Paranjoti Munivar. Artana tadari beri, artana murudamundai, artana udukkai takkai, artana padakam pambai, artana mudavum tattai, artana chinnam tarai, artana talam kalam, artana disaigalengam. So, tadari, beri, murudu, mundai, udukkai, takkai, padakam pambai, mudavam tattai, chinnam tarai, kalam talam. These are all the musical instruments which are literally, all are drums. So they are all, being played for her to go on this, embark on this valorous journey to even win over the gods. So that's how he is introducing the valor of Meenakshi with just the sound and the beauty of the imagery that Paranjoti Munivar puts into his Thiruvilayadal Puranam. So she wins over Indra, and she says, now let me embark and let me go. Narada comes and stops her. He says, get lost, Narada, I can win over anybody. She wants to go to Kailasha and win over Shiva also, and she is proceeding further. And of course, Narada being Kalahapriya, he wants it to happen. And Vachevar Kadal Charanamum Pambasaitu Uduttavem Pulitolum Kochaval Madukaramum Vennirani Kolamum Nulmarvum Kachevedium Tanayerokia Kavanai Seidiranokum Pechadan Valapadi Tadadagai Piratium Edirgandai. So now she is coming face to face with Shiva. Vachevar Kadal Charanam Pambasaitu Uduttavem Pulitolum. He who wears serpents as his ornaments, he who wears the tiger skin as his drape. So he has a sword and a maru or an axe. When Nirani Kolamum Nul Marvum, he has a Yagnopavita and he's smeared with the ashes. And she looks at Shiva in this form. And Tan Valappadiyai Tadadagai Piratiyam Edirgandal. She saw her own other half, who, like maybe today when we say better half, she sees the equal half. Kanda Yellagil Urumulai Maraindadu. Just at the moment when she saw Shiva, Orumulai Maraindadu, she lost her extra breast. Kanda Yellagil, Orumulai Maraindadu, Karutil Nan Madam Macham Gonda Mindadi Kunida, Malaranda Pungumbarin, Wositu Volki, Pandai Anbuvandu, Iregola Karungudal, Baramum, Pidaridal, Kandai Un Kandum, Puravadinoka, Mandalait the Minyan Indra. It's a beautiful verse. So you compare the first verse where he starts off by saying Artana Tadari Beri, Artana Murudamundai, Artana Udukai Takai. Here he says Kanda Yellagil, Urumurai Maraindadu, Karutil Madam, Nanam, Acham. So Madam Nanam, she starts, that Velar is gone. Now she is shy, she is blushing, looking at her, love. Karutil Nan Madam Acham, she kind of fears. She was fearless just a few poems ago. Now she's kind of, her heart is racing with all the adrenaline rush. Nan Madam Acham Konda Maindida Kunida Malaranda Pumbudil Kumpari Musittu Volki Pandai Anbu Vandu. She's got this prema or love that is gushing in her heart. And Kendai Un Kannum Puravadinoka. Her eyes, Kendai Un Kannu, Kendai is a fish, again Meenakshi reference. Kendai Un Kannum Puravu Adinoka, her eyes which never saw down, she was always fearlessly looking at her opponents. Now she starts looking down because she is shy. Adinoka. Mankilaitu Minyan Nindral. She becomes shy and her legs go haywire. Nindra Menkodikku Akal Visumbu Idai Aran Nigaltiya Thirumatram. Shiva has performed a miracle to this lady who was just valorous as she was just before. Andra Arinda Mudarivan Am Sumadi Siradi Paninda Annai Yikondrayam Shadaya Kudagane Nin Manak Kudagan Yendranum Anbudundra Indrabal Partha Arul Shivagaram Shodi Machi the Kuram. Shiva starts to speak. And he says, Endru dottu nee disayin mel sayam gurithu எழுந்து போந்தனை யாமும் அன்று தொட்டும் மதுரை விட்டு உனை விடாது அடுத்து வந்தன். Go to Madurai. I will come. I will not leave you. I will also come to Madurai. உன்னை தொன்று தொட்ட நான்மறை உரை வழிவரும் சோமவாரத்து ஓரை நன்று தொட்ட நான்மணம் செய்வதும் நின் நகர்க்கு நீ ஏகு. Now go to your city. I will come the next Monday and I will marry you. And she goes, and what ensues is what we sing as Gauri Kalyana Vaibhogame, where Shiva comes, Mangalam Puninda Sempun, Amimel Manatipada, Vangaya Malarai Kayal, Pariburam Silambivatri, Pungavan Manuval Yeti, Punia Vasitan Devi, Yangana Changai Gopi, Edivara Rulgan Sati Vasitar, and all the rishis are there, and Shiva comes, Amimel Manatipada, Vangaya Malarai. He catches the feet of Meenakshi. Shiva comes and catches the feet of Meenakshi, places it on the Ammi, and he is marrying her. And my most favorite poem is this one, perhaps. Vidivali Varadu Velvi Vinayalam Niramba Ingan Adirgadal Ulagam Terat Achi Nanmaregal Arpe Kadirmani Nagayar Valta Kamani Kaindananmi Nambi Madinudan Mangayodu Manavarai Ranil Bukkan. So it says, who is catching hold of Parvati or Meenakshi or Tatataka and entering into the Mantapa? He is none other than Kamani Kaindanambi Manavarai Dhanil Pukkan. He who destroyed Kama, he who destroyed Manmatha, he who has no desire, now is filled with desire because it is Tatataka who is, who he is going to marry. That's a beautiful phrase, the oxymoronic usage that he is doing. Kamani Kaindanambi Manavarai Dhanil Pukkan. So moving ahead, even today, we know how important Meenakshi Kalyanam is and how the city of Madurai, just brims with emotion when Meenakshi is getting married. And every woman in Madurai changes her Mangalya Sutra as if she is getting married again to her husband. There is in Lalitopakhana, there is in chapter 31, there is a narration of a story of a fight between Himavan and Matanga, and a mantrini of Matanga is born as Madangi, and she plays the veena and rejoices with her friends in the Kadamba forest, etc. And therefore, there is an identification because Madurai is again Kadambavana, and the Devi is also, identified as Matangi. So therefore, Meenakshi is seen as Matangi, Raja Matangi, Shyamala, Shukashyamala, etc. Therefore, in literature also, there are many stutis on Matangi as one in Kadambavana. For example, there is this Matangi stuti, Matangi Pranatosmi Susmita Mukhim Devim Shukashyamalam. So there are many Matangi stutis that are said to be on Meenakshi, but even though they don't contain the explicit name of Meenakshi. There are many shlokas that are today attributed to Kalidasa. But of course, we do not know whether, historically we can say they were composed by Kalidasa or not. But still, you have Shyamala, Navaratna Malika, Shyamala, Dandakam, the most famous shloka, Manikya Venam, Upalalayantim, Madalasam, Manjula, Vakvilasam, Mahendra Neelat, Tyutikomalangim, Matanga Kanyam, Satatam Smarami, is attributed to Kalidasa. And that is because, though we might think, at least I used to wonder, there's no Meenakshi here. Why is it attributed to Madurai and Meenakshi? It's because of this this incident that is described in Lalitopakhana, which is considered as part of the Brahmanda Purana, where Matangi is in Kadambavana, playing with her sakhis, playing on the veena, and rejoicing with a parrot, Shukashyamala, etc. And therefore, there is one belief that holds that Matangi became Meenakshi, and therefore these stutis as Kadambavana Vasini and Matangi by Kalidasa that are attributed to Kalidasa are treated as those eulogizing the goddess of Madurai. There are many other stotras on Meenakshi. For example, you have the Yoga Meenakshi stotra, which is highly philosophical. It talks about Meenakshi as Yoga Devata, and yoga in the sense not just postures and how yoga is known today, but as the Ashtanga Yoga, pranayama, pratyahara, asana, dharana, dhyana, shushupti, that kind of that kind of a Ashtanga Yoga, which is being spoken about and others, where Sushumnam Tarandre Sahasrarabadne Ravindvagni Samyak samyukta chichakra madhye sudhamandalaste sunirvana pite sada sancharantim bhaje pandya balam chatushpatra madhye sukonatrayante trimurtyadhivase trimargantarale sahasrara padmo chitam chit prakasham vaha chit prakasha pravaha pralinam bhaje pandya balam. So every shloka ends with this phrase bhaje pandya balam, bhaje pandya balam. I salute Pandya Bala, the daughter of Pandya, and it goes on chatushpatra madhye sukonatrayante trimurtyadhivase. So sushumna is the ida, pingala and sushumna are the three nadis that are considered very important in yoga shastra, where the atma from the Daharakasha, after the perfection of dharana, dhyana, etc. of the Ashtanga Yoga, at the time the Atma is said to leave the body, it should catch hold, it should leave Ida Pingala, catch hold of Sushumna Nadi and escape through the Sahasrara Chakra. And that, nuanced aspects of yoga are spoken about here when it says Sushumnantarandre Sahasrara Padme or Sahasrara Padme Sushumnanta Marge Spurat Chandra Piyusha Dharam Pibantim. So the Soma or the Chandra Dhara that is there, Amrita Dhara, is being rejoiced when the Ashtanga, by performing Ashtanga Yoga, when the Shakti is raised from the Kundalini to Sahasrara Padma. Sahasrara Padme Sushumnam Tamarge Spurat Chandra Piyusha Dharam Pibantim Sadastravayanttim Sudhamurtim Ambam Paranjoti Rupam Bhaje Pandya Balam. So this links or this celebrates Meenakshi as the supreme devata of Yoga Shastra. It's a beautiful, even in terms of the chandas itself, the meter itself is a very beautiful stotra. So there is another Meenakshi Pancharatna, perhaps famous due to its renditions in music as well. There is a difference of opinion even among traditional attributions, where some traditions attribute Meenakshi Pancharatna to Sri Shankara Bhagavat Padacharya, whereas other traditions attribute it to Agastya Rishi. But of course, we don't know, these are legends. We don't know whether they were composed by Shankara Bhagavat Pada or not, I mean, historically speaking. But as per belief, it is composed by some people it is attributed to Shankaracharya, some people it is attributed to Agastya Maharishi. So Srimat Sundara Nayikam Bayaharam Jnanapradam Nirmalam Shyamabham Kamalasanarchitapadam Narayanasyanujam Veena Venu Mridanga Vadya Rasikam Nanabidham Ambikam Meenakshim Pranatosmi Santatamaham Karunya Varam Nidhim. So this is the Meenakshi Pancharatnam, which is famous due to its musical renditions, and it talks about Meenakshi, rejoicing Veena, Venu, Mridangadi, Vadya Rasikam. She enjoys music. Nana Vidham, Ambikam, Shyamabham, Kamalasanarchitapadam. So Brahma comes and worships you. Narayanasya Anujam. You are the younger sister of Narayana. Even in the Meenakshi Kalyanam panel, if you see Narayana, because he is the brother of Meenakshi, he comes and gives his sister's hand to Shiva. So this is Meenakshi Pancharatna. We have Meenakshi Stotra, another Meenakshi Stotra that is attributed to Shankara Bhagavat Padacharya as well. Nade Narada Tumburadhya Vanite Nadanta Nadatmike Nitye Neelalatatmike Nirupame Nivara Shukopame Kante Kamakale Kadambanilege Kameshwarankastite Madvidye Madabhishtakalpalatike Mampahi Meenambike. So this Stotra, every phrase of every shloka ends with Mampahi Meenambike, and the usage of prasas or alliterations are very, very beautiful in this stotra. If you look at the first verse, the nakaras, Nade Narada Tumbura Dyavanite Nadanta Nadatmike Nitye Neelalatatmike Nirupame Nivara Shuko with a na. And the third line, if you see Kante Kamakale Kadambanileye Kameshwarankastite. So that the alliterations are very beautifully, the prasas are beautifully brought out in this text. Meenakshi Manimala Ashtakam. Of course, each of this text is more than this. I have only taken samples because Pancharatnam has 5, Ashtakas have 8, and some stotras that I'm pointing out here have hundreds of shlokas. I will not be able to, explain all of them. So I'm only picking 1 or 2 and just showing glimpses of how beautiful they are. So Meenakshi Manimala Ashtakam, the shloka Madhura Purinayike Namaste, Madhurlapi Shuka Biramahaste, Malayadvaja Pandya Rajakanye, Mayi Meenakshi Kripam Videhi Dhanye. So every shloka of this Ashtaka ends with Mayi Meenakshi Kripam Videhi, and then it gives some other adjective. The adjective last word alone, the adjective alone keeps changing. Mayi Meenakshi Kripam Videhi Santhe, Mayi Meenakshi Kripam Videhi Pake, Mayi Meenakshi Kripam Videhi Dine, Mayi Meenakshi Kripam Videhi Sarathe, etc., etc., etc. So that is my Meenakshi Manimala Ashtakam. There are also Sringeri Acharyas who have done stotras on Meenakshi. Chandrasekhar Bharati Swami has done two Meenakshi stotras, Meenakshi Stuti and Meenakshi Stotra. Kandarpa Vairiapi Yaya Savilasa Hasa Netravalokana Vashikrita Manaso Bhutam Sarvada Sakalamohana Rupavesham Mohandakara Haranam Bhaje Meena Netram. So this stotra, every shloka ends with Bhaje Meena Netram, Bhaje Meena Netram. So so this is again what I told in Thiruvilayadal Puranam, Kamanai Kaindanambi Manavarai Pukkan. So the person or Shiva who is the destroyer of Kama, who has no desire, when Manmatha tried to make Shiva fall into the trap of love, he literally burnt Manmatha and said, no, I am not falling for this trap. Now Shringe, the Acharya is also saying, Kandarpa Vairi Api, even though he is the enemy of desire, Yaya Savilasahasa Netra Avalokana, then that Shiva who burnt Kama, even him, when he looks at this beautiful smile of Meenakshi, he loses himself. Netra Avalokana Vashikrtamana Sobhut. She has somehow managed to capture the heart of Shiva, who is, Kandarpa Vairi, who is the enemy of Manmatha. So such a beautiful stotra. Neelakantha Dikshita, coming again to Neelakantha Dikshita, we already saw his one of these shlokas of his. Now Neelakantha Dikshita is a poet par excellence. So you take his Kali Vidambanam, it's a satire work. You can laugh with Kali Vidambanam for hours together. It is such a fun-filled poetry that he's writing. Sabharanjana Shatakam, another fun-filled poetry, and his Ananda Sagarastava is one very beautiful work. His Champu works, Neelakantha Vijaya Champu, is another excellent work. His Neelakantha Dikshita is a poet par excellence. And Ananda Sagarastava, it is said that he lost his eyes, and he prays to goddess Meenakshi and gets his eyes back. And he was a mantri in the Sabha of Nayakas of Madurai, Tirumalai Nayaka. So I'm just taking, it's I think 108 shlokas big. It's a huge poetry, and it extols Meenakshi so beautifully. Every shloka of Ananda Sagarastava is a true delight to read. I've just taken two shlokas from Ananda Sagarastava, where he says, Mukta Shakhalva Biyadi Tripure Bhavatyaha Stanyashaya Stanadatam Naparityajanti Asmaka Mudbhata Bhavajvarata Pitanam Ardri Bhavantu Vadani Kutona Hetoho. So Neelakantha Dikshita says he looks at the beautiful breasts of Meenakshi, and he looks at the beautiful muktavalis or the pearl necklaces that she is wearing, and he says, Muktascha khalu api yadi tripure bhavatyaha tanyashaya stanatatamna parityajanti. Beautiful usage that he does. Muktascha. Mukta has a meaning, one has a dual meaning. So he is using two meanings to fit into the same phrase. So mukta means pearl. Mukta also means a person who has attained mukti, who is liberated. So muktascha khalvapi. So you are having so many muktas on your breast, or pearls on your breast as ornaments. That is one meaning. Muktascha khalvapi yadi tripure bhavatyaha stanyashaya stanatatamna parityajanti. Even though they are liberated souls who are, who have gone to moksha, but still, even to those liberated souls, those who have attained mukti, who are you? You are their mother. And therefore, they can be a huge liberated soul muktas, but they still are there on your breast for your milk as babies. So it can mean two things. Muktascha kalu can mean pearl necklaces as mukta. It can mean though liberated souls are also your babies only. You are above everything. So muktascha kalvapi yadi tripure bhavatyaha stanyashaya stanatatam na parityajanti. They never leave your breasts. Asmakam udbhata bhavajvaratapitanam. So for us also, who are we? We are also your babies only. And we are jvaratapitanam. What jvara? We are having a fever. What fever is that? Bhavajvara tapitanam. We are suffering in this samsara or this world. Ardri bhavantu vadanani kutona hetoho. For what reason are you not merciful on us? Ardri bhavantu. Please be merciful on us, he says. Datte shriyam bahuvidam kushalani datte. Oh Meenakshi, you keep giving to everybody who comes and sees you. Datte shriyam. You give wealth. Bahuvidham. In so many different ways you keep bestowing wealth on people. Kushalani datte, many saukhyas or many kushalas you give to people. And datte padam surapaterapi leelayaiva. People come to you and ask for, I want to become Indra. You say leelayaiva datte. As if it's a child's play, you say, okay, you become Indra. As if it's something, it's just a child's play, you give Indra padavi also, just like that. But then he says, idrig vidhamba tava drishti rito dhikava. Can your, and that is bestowed by the kadai kan or just the end of her glance. Have it, and that's it. We are there with Indra Padavi also. Idrig vidha amba tava drishti rito adhikava nadyapi karnam ativartitum ishwariyam. Can your eyesight go beyond your ears because she has elongated eyes? Meenakshi, yeah? So she has long eyes up to her ear, karnanta netra. And can your eyesight, going here and there, can it go beyond your ears? That is one meaning. But it says your merciful glance or your giving abilities, your bestowing abilities, karnam ativartitum can be her glance that goes near her ear or karna, or who is known in the mythology for giving to everybody, Karna, the character Karna. So Anand Nilakanta Dikshita says, oh, you are exceeding Karna. Can you even exceed Karna in giving? Because you are giving Indra Padavi. Karna cannot do that. Karna can only give what he has. Indra is not with Karna, so you are giving all of that. So therefore you are exceeding Karna. And here he also means her glance goes up to her Karna, which is her ear. Beautiful, beautiful wordplay by Nilakanta Dikshita in his Ananda Sagarastava. A beautiful stotra which has more than 100 shlokas. Because of paucity of time, I will not be able to explain all of it. But I suggest you all take up Ananda Sagarastava and read for the sheer poetry and the aesthetic essence that is there. So many other Sanskrit works like Meenakshi Shodashopachara Stotra, Meenakshi Ashtotra Shatanama Stotra, Meenakshi Suprabhatam, Prachanna Shripura Varnanam, or which describes Madurai as a Sri Chakra itself. Tamil also, I'm running out of time, so I'll have to rush. In Tamil also, Kumara Gurubarar's Meenakshi Ammai Pillai Tamil is a Pillai Tamil literature by Kumara Gurubarar on Meenakshi. For example, when he talks about Sengirai Paruvam, he இழைத்திட அழித்தழித்து ஒரு முற்றவெளியில் தெரியும் மத்த பெரும்பித்தன் முன்னின்று தொந்தம் இடமும் முனியாது வைகரம் எடுத்து அடுக்கி பெரிய மூது அண்டம் கூடும் மூடும் சிற்றில் விளையாடும் ஒரு பச்சிளம் பெண்பிள்ளை செங்கீரை ஆடி அருளே. Oh Devi, you are making, as a small kid, people, kids build sand castles, and the boys of that village come and destroy the sand castle, and this is Sengirai Paruvam. Now he says that you are making Citril, your sand castle is the whole world, and you are making it using the 5 elements, and Shiva being the destroyer of the worlds, he comes and destroys, and you create it again. So you being you, not small baby, human babies, you are playing your Leelas or Pillai Tamil like this, he extols. And there is Irattai Manimalai. I'm not going into it, but it is called Irattai Manimalai because he uses one Nerisai Venba, one Katalai Karithurai, one Nerisai Venba, one Katalai Kalithurai, and he uses these two interchangingly and makes a beautiful poetry out of it. Kulasekara Pandya's Maduraburi Ambigai Malai by the later Pandyas extols Madurai and Meenakshi. She is also musical Meenakshi, compositions of Nada Jyoti, Muthuswami Dikshitar and Shyama Shastri, beautiful emotional compositions on Meenakshi. So many other Tamil texts on Meenakshi. Meenakshi, where we have Kayarkanni Malai, 100 songs, everything ending with Kudal Vazhum Kayarkanniye, Kudal Vazhum Kayarkanniye, Angayarkanni Malai, again 100 songs that end with Kudal Nagar Angayarkanni Nayagiye, Kudal Nagar Angayarkanni Nayagiye, Kadambavanavalli Padigam, 11 songs ending with Kadambavanavalliye, Kadambavanavalliye, Meenakshi Ammai Satakam, which explores the philosophical and ethical aspects. So many folk songs on the marriage of Meenakshi and the stories related to Meenakshi, Temmang, Sindhu, Vadinadai Chindu, Kummi, etc. You have, Madurai Meenakshi Amman Talat, Tenkudal Angayarkanni, Tellamudai Talat, Mingot Chitti Vinayagandan Kapame, and goes on and on like that. Madurai Meenakshi Amman Unjal Part. The list is endless. Meenakshi Talat, Meenakshi Sindhu, Meenakshi Unjal, Meenakshi Kidipart, Meenakshi Panjaratnam in Tamil also. Meenakshi Pandadi, how she plays ball, Meenakshi Agaval, Meenakshi Padigam, Meenakshi Viruttam. So the list is endless. We can keep going on and on about just the literature that speak about Meenakshi. So because of paucity of time, I'm restricting myself. And Bhaje Pandya Bala, may all glories be to Meenakshi, and may humanity, with her grace, get rid of the difficulties that we are all facing now and get back to being ourselves again. Thank you for this opportunity and for your patient listening. Namaskar.
Thank you very much, Pratik. It was absolutely enlightening.
Thank you. Thank you.
Absolutely enlightening, and I think we should, in future, have a conference on all these works because it's so much, and it was. And I would also like to have a discussion. You were talking about the Inmayil Nannai Tharuvar temple.
Yeah.
Hello?
Yes, yes.
I'm not able to hear you. Yeah.
Hello?
Yeah. You were talking about the Nannai Tharuvar temple being the center of Madurai. It is quite likely because the goddess there is known as the Madhya Purishwari.
Right.
So it is quite likely that it is true. Though it is situated on the western side of the West Pasi street of Madurai, it might be, there is a belief that it is the Madhyapuri.
Right.
So that is a thing, and amazing. I thought I would, you won't be mentioning about Meenakshi Shatakam. You have not left even one, enormous fund of knowledge, and I am totally awestruck. And I feel, thank God we didn't have anybody else, because this itself was quite vast for our viewers to see and digest. It was very, very nice of you to have taken all the pains to have set up this. And
thank you so much.
It was very nice of you, Pratik. And any other person who has questions can please request to be unmuted. We can unmute you, and you can ask questions. And or else you can send us a WhatsApp or a mail or on Facebook also. It is there, it's being streamed. So all your friends, you please tell them to see this. This is very invaluable information. And all that I can say is it is Meenakshi's grace that these things are happening.
Absolutely.
Pratik, I think questions are being typed.
Oh, is it? Yeah, if there are questions, please let me know. Is the Koodal name standing for confluence of rivers? That perhaps is a subject of
There's
debate.
somebody there.
There are some opinions that say it is some people who say it is because of non-Mada Koodal, it is because of the confluence of the huge roads or Ratha Vithis, etc. That is subject of debate. Yeah, there are differing opinions why it's called Koodal. Is there any other question?
Namaskar. Sir, it was an excellent one, sir.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Thank you very much, sir. Sir, can we have an elaborate version of this one? Because this was, you made it very fast, no? If we can move a bit slower and the time duration is a bit longer, then we can really enjoy. Sorry?
Yeah, I had to. Within an hour, I had to bring in so many literature. So that is the reason why I had to go fast.
Yes,
but yes,
yes.
I mean, yeah, and
If
all
it
these
had been a
literature
bit slower, right, it would have been very good. We would have enjoyed it even more. It was very nice, sir. I mean, I thank you from the bottom of my heart. All the best,
Thank you,
sir.
sir.
Very
Thank
kind
you.
of you. The recorded version of this, can we get it, sir?
Yes, it is streamed live in Facebook, and
Okay.
kindly give us your if you can enter your WhatsApp number or something, we can send it to you. You can see it on Facebook.
Yes, sir. Yes,
Lance
sir. Yes,
Trust.
sir. Yes.
Yes.
Yes. I'll do it. I'm sending my WhatsApp number. Very kind of you, sir. All the best.
Thank you.
Very great effort, sir. All the best.
Thank you.
Okay.
Any other questions? Prem, anybody else is there?
Sir, very good evening.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Pratik, this is Madan here. Again,
Hello,
again a fabulous speech about my native Madurai, and
Thank you
wonderful. Whenever I see, I used to tell about Madurai and Madurai Meenakshi, and really the literature, whatever you have given today, was a tremendous speech as usual. I am a great follower and a great fan of Pratik's speech, and you have done a fantastic job. And my grievance, Madurai has a lot of heritage, traditional and cultural information. So I would like to, in further conference or workshops, anything like that, about the sculptures as well as the festivals of the Madurai. If you just concentrate, that will be more helpful for the audience also.
Kindly give us your contact number, sir. We will let you know. We are going to have various series of talks on the festival, on the crafts, on the art, various aspects of the heritage of the Madurai and surrounding regions of Madurai. So please stay connected. Please leave your number with us so that we can keep you posted when we have a meeting. Every other Sunday we are having it at 5:30 in the evening. So please do join us in every meeting and give us your valuable feedback.
Thank you very much, sir. It is very honored for me to attend this program. Thank you very much.
Thank
God
you.
bless us.
Thank you.
So if there are any other questions, I'd like to take them. If not, then maybe we can. Yes.
They have texted Pratik.
Mr. Arun Vetrivel Kannan.
Yeah, that's me. Hello?
Yes.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yeah. Sorry, Pratik, that was just absolutely amazing. Absolutely amazing. And in Tamil, we say, when we talk about a household, when we talk about a family, we ask, Madaraya Chidambarama, Apdin Kepo. So, I mean, who's dominating? So, in the case of Madurai, right from the beginning, was it Shiva who was preeminent, the preeminent deity, or was it Meenakshi?
Well, that's an interesting question, but as the center of the city, it is said in Madurai Kanji, the earliest reference that we get is for Shiva only. Mazhuval Nediyon Mudalvanage, Mazhuval Nediyon Talaivanage. So it must have begun as a Shiva Kshetra only, and as the Shakti of Shiva, she must have been, a Pratishtha must have been done for Devi, as is the case with many places. But in later literatures, we start getting, an independent Shakti prominences.
So Chidambaram Madurai Akito Nanga.
She will make it her place anywhere she goes.
Okay, thank you. Amazing. Really amazing. Thank you so much.
Mrs. Preeta.
Yes, Aravind, hello.
How are you, Akka?
I'm fine. How are you?
I'm fine, thank you. And actually speaking, strangely, Madurai, we call it the Meenakshi Amman temple, no? Whereas we don't refer to other temples like that. We don't say Kantimati Amman temple for Tirunelveli. We don't say Brigannayagi temple for Tanjavur. We call the Shiva temple.
Yes.
We name the presiding deity there, but here automatically we don't say Sundareshwara temple.
Yes.
We say Meenakshi Amman.
So Aravind, your house also, I hope it's Madurai, Meenakshi.
Yes, very much.
I'll have to ask your wife. But Pratik was such a, he's amazing, spectacular. Hats off to you for inviting him to be a speaker.
Thank you. It's all God's grace.
Thank you so much.
Any of the other questions that are there which was typed in?
I don't think there are any questions typed yet.
Prem, could you?
No other request, sir.
Okay. So in case we get something, it was very, very nice of you, Pratik, and I don't know how to thank you, really, for your valuable thoughts and how you've taken it seriously and you're prepared so much for it. And I think we should, I think this particular topic itself can be made into a conference. For a whole day, we can have a discussion on it because
absolutely, there is just so much. It's an ocean by itself. Literature itself is an ocean. Every facet is an ocean indeed.
Yes. Thank you so very much.
So happy that you choose to highlight, just not as a mixed bag, but as separate sessions for each of these facets. So we get a holistic idea of the vast heritage that is there. Thank you for doing this.
Thank you very much, and thank you everybody for watching. And you can all see it on the Lamps Trust Facebook page. It will be there, and you can, for those who have missed it, can see it there. Wonderful. Thank you very much, and see you all in another 15 days from now. Thank you, Pratik.
Thank you so much. Namaskar.
Namaskar.